Find a new genius or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Hey, that's the spirit. Right now, we're celebrating free with a free STP oil filter when you buy 5 quarts of oil and free Duralast brake pads when you buy 2 rotors. Like always, free battery testing, charging, and recycling at every store. Celebrate free at AutoZone, now through July 28th.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Pro Savings Days are back at Lowe's. Right now, get a 4-piece GE kitchen suite for under $2,000. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt Max XR 8-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. Save big with deals that work as hard as you do. Shop Pro Savings Days in-store or online today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 8/1. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
From the Accident Recovery Team Traffic Center, don't worry about me, I called ART.
Traffic.
We have a stalled out vehicle southbound on I-135. It's just south of K15. Traffic volume's pretty light right now, but when they pick up, watch out for a slowdown in that area. Traffic update from 98.7 and 1330 KNSS in the Accident Recovery Team Traffic Center. I'm Jad Chambers.
Weather.
Mostly cloudy skies with an isolated shower, mainly this morning. High 93. It will feel like the upper 90s. After 5 o'clock, thunderstorms are likely. Heavy rain is our main concern. Those will continue throughout the night. Overnight low 70. Mostly cloudy on Friday, high 88, with another chance of showers and storms during the afternoon and evening. Back over to the middle 90s this weekend with mostly sunny skies. That's your forecast from Storm Team 12. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn.
Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH Wichita, KNSS HD2 Clearwater, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Hey Wichita, it's Jacob Albrock. Stay right there for the latest breaking in sports talk. It's Sports Daily coming up next exclusively on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
I'm Taylor Bisciotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The Eagles are back to defend their Super Bowl 59 title. Quarterback Jalen Hurts says they're putting the past behind them, with Hurts noting, quote, "This is a new journey. This is a reset, and don't use the word repeat." Elsewhere, the Giants training camp is underway in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and head coach Brian Daboll reiterated that Russell Wilson is the team's starting quarterback. Wilson responded to the news saying, "My mentality is always to be the best in the world." Bears quarterback Caleb Williams has his sights set high entering his second year. The former number 1 overall pick is aiming for a 70% completion rate and wants to become the first 4,000-yard passer in franchise history. Titans head coach Brian Callahan confirmed that this year's number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward, will receive the majority of first-team reps in camp. Ward said he believes the Titans have the potential to be one of the best offenses in the league. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org. While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
Happy Thursday to you, everybody. It is Sports Daily. It is Albrock and Caster here. Max Power in producing. We're glad to be here with you. A lot to get to on the show today as we crank up football seasons really all over the place. We've got training camp going for the Chiefs. We've got practice underway for both KU today and KState underway as well. We're going to check in from Manhattan with Tim Fitzgerald from KState camp, our KState insider joining a little later in the program. We're going to have Eric Johnson in to talk a little golf, see what his reaction to Scotty's win across the pond is and what's coming up next on the PGA Tour. We'll do that in the show today as well. The Royals, big winners. Big bats against the Cubs. We'll get to that as we make our way through. It's all what's on tap, brought to you by the Wichita Brewing Company, WBC Delano's debut brew, Hatfield's Mama, German Kolsch with a clean, crisp character, smooth and refreshing. Make history with Hatfield's Mama, Wichita Brewing Company, Delano's debut brew, available at all 3 WBC brew pubs. Tommy, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Thursday. Good to see you today. We had an update in the TBT last night as well. The KU alumni squad did not make it past the final in their regional, so we will not see an Aftershocks and KU alumni matchup this weekend. However, we will see the Aftershocks inside Coke Arena on Sunday night, so that should be fun. But yeah, KU's alumni team did not get it done last night.
Yeah, it's that's unfortunate, but it's okay. The Aftershocks still get their home game. That would have been pretty cool. But it'll be okay. We're focused in on Wichita State's alumni team trying to get in there, host games, and get that $1 million purse. But that game's not till Sunday. But yes, Jayhawks hoops, they had a chance. Man, we just, for whatever reason, we can't get it to happen. They just match them up in the first round or something. Let's make it happen that way. But we make our way through. The Royals, Tommy, go big last night. We'll get more into this in just a minute, but 8-4 winners over the Cubbies. I mean, it was a lot of home runs yesterday. They had 3 of them. When Tyler Tolbert's hitting home runs, you're feeling it a little bit here. Bobby Witt Jr. did not play. He's got kind of a little nicked up knee. He says it's fine. The day off today, the day baseball yesterday, maybe just made sense to sit him down. Certainly we'll keep an eye on that. But it does wash away the Marlins series. That you now win against the Cubs, and the Royals continue to play much better, especially offensively here in the month of July. And we're to July 24th, and it just keeps going, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, we've got power coming in bunches, from the Royals over the last, really the entire month, but even after the All-Star break. What's that? 3 of the last 4 games for the Royals, they've put up at least 7 runs. And so, I mean, you look at that, and outside of the shutout the other day inside Wrigley against the Cubs, they've been able to deliver and produce offensively, and it's been fairly consistent. That's been a major question mark for the Royals. How can they produce offensively on a consistent basis? I like to look at trends. I feel like the team continues to trend better offensively. I know you've referenced the law of averages and, the Royals bats coming alive and kind of balancing out how bad it had been for quite a while. I'd like to think this sort of thing can continue.
I do too. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but I think it can continue. I think what we saw for the first half of the year, basically, it won't be that bad the rest of the way. I don't know if it'll be good enough. And the rumor mills are just swirling right now for the Royals and what they might do. Saw Bubic's name brought up again yesterday. Lugo, of course, stays brought up. And
I've seen Michael Garcia's name floated around too. Have you seen that?
No, that one doesn't make any sense to me.
He's shown up on, like best fit for other teams lists. But with the caveat that, the Royals are more than likely not moving a guy the caliber of Michael Garcia. But I have seen his name pop up on a couple of prominent websites from people speculating different things.
Yeah, a guy that has shown upside historically, can play essentially every position on the field, and has 4 more years of control after this year. I would say unlikely that Michael Garcia gets traded. But, I guess you listen on everybody.
Yeah, so it was Jim Bowden writing for The
Jim
Athletic.
Bowden, yeah.
Jim Bowden, writing
Former
for the
GM.
Yep, saying that Michael Garcia could be a name that the Royals dangle at the deadline. I think that's unlikely, but he also puts Jonathan India in that conversation as well, that they might be shopping infielders because they feel like they've got depth in the infield and they really need help in the outfield. I think that's unlikely, but that article came out yesterday.
I mean, trading India would be probably okay, but trading Michael Garcia, a team would really have to want him and give you a big haul back for a dude that's going to cost you nothing for the next 4 years and can play everywhere, and do lots of different things too. He can hit. He's shown this year he can hit comfortably in different spots in the lineup. That would be a surprise to me. But you never know. You gotta take every call. You gotta listen on everything. I don't think you're so desperate for an outfielder that you shoot yourself in the other foot potentially down the road. But at that point, just go find an outfielder in free agency or something like that. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Royals call up MJ Melendez yesterday, by the way. You sent that to me. Lots of jokes can come with that because it's been, it was so bad for Melendez this year before he got called down or before he got sent down. But he has shown us historically he can get hot.
And he's been good in Omaha. I mean, him being sent down, he's been a productive bat for them down there. It was so bad for him to start the season with the big league squad. And I know it was out of necessity. Nick Lofton is on the concussion list, and so he's got to take a couple of days off, kind of get through all of that. And they needed to replace him with somebody, and it happened to be Melendez. I think expectations should be extremely low that Melendez will have any kind of impact whatsoever on this team in the interim while Lofton is on the concussion list.
He was slugging down there. He is batting .250 with 13 home runs in 72 games. So, and last year, remember, he had stretches where he kind of carried him a little bit. And it's so feast or famine with him. But if you can catch a heater, why not? Right? If he can come up and give you a couple of weeks and he's figured it out and you've got some pop down there, heck yeah, bring that up. So, and I do also just generally as a rule, I like MJ Melendez. I think his teammates really like him. And I think he's been a pretty interesting player. It just got to the point this year where it got so bad. So that was an interesting roster move yesterday.
Yeah, I think we're going to look back on this season and just the revolving door of outfielders, really outside of Kyle Isbell in center field. But I mean, guys like Melendez and Renfroe, Mark Hanna, Tyler Tolbert, Nick Lofton, John Rave. I mean, there have been so many different players that they've rotated through trying to find something that sticks. Let's be real. It's not going to be Melendez in his second stint this season in left field, but I think it does illuminate and highlight the fact that they still don't have a permanent solution there in left field.
Yeah, it's not going to be every day Melendez in left field. Now, whether he can come up and rotate in there, I think that's possible. But the Royals also want to add a bat. So we'll get into all that. Let's talk about yesterday's game. Let's talk about the series, and we'll dig in a little bit on the Royals. Don't go away. We got more Sports Daily. It's all Brockton Caster coming your way.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe. no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app. Brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
The canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Page.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. You want to win some HTO? You can do that right now by texting the keyword T to the short code 20357. That's T to 20357. You can enter once per day message and data rates apply. You can win a free iced tea from HTO. This will be good for either East Wichita, West Wichita, or in Derby. Good luck, everybody, on that. Got some new drink launches, HTOs, coming with on August 1st, so be prepared for that as well. Tommy, I'm just reading a little bit here. The stuff with the playoff format in college football is getting really interesting. Some reporting from Sports Illustrated this morning that it's essentially the Big Ten on an island, wanting the 4-4-2-2-1 at this point. The SEC coaches did not like that format, which is why the SEC is sort of backed off. But the reporting this morning is that the Big Ten basically, like, 4 different people close to it are saying they went to the networks and said, oh yeah, we're going to get this and we're going to give you a conference semifinal, essentially, which I've actually said was a good idea for television partners, right? Have a have a 4-team playoff or whatever. And they can't walk it back now. So they've kind of dug their heels in. And so they're the only ones that want this of the 4 main leagues now. We told you that yesterday. That would make sense and wouldn't surprise me. Petiti has been he's shot big in his time there. So that could be what's happening. And now they're saying if they want to go with what everyone else wants, the SEC needs to play another conference game, which has always been a weird, nobody else around the country really cares story. But I guess the Big Ten logic is, well, we have to play one more game, which means we have 9 more losses when it comes to selection time. But that doesn't matter. Like, nobody's looking at that. Nobody in that room is looking at that stuff. We know who the teams are. Like, you're not going to not get in because you played one more conference game.
Yeah, I don't think that really you're going to be looking at the body of the SEC as a whole and saying, well, I mean, look, they've got 9 more losses, so we're gonna hold out one of the teams from the in the playoff. That seems extremely unlikely. What's more likely to happen is that sort of thing just gets completely glossed over and ignored when it comes time to select the teams for the playoff, and you'll see just as many SEC teams as you would have otherwise.
I mean, look, you're probably looking in most years where the Big Ten and the SEC is going to get around 5 teams in anyway. So I don't think that they're going to be teams where they got screwed by playing that extra game. Usually those teams are going to be top end teams where it's pretty obvious, right, that they should be in there. So I don't know where this goes. I know that the Big Ten has sort of created this island for itself. It's good that the SEC is not aligned with them. If you were the Big 12 and the ACC and you subscribe to what the conference commissioners are saying, that the other format is better. I still maintain that it's riskier because who knows what could happen with this thing, and who knows what we'll get Tim Fitzgerald his take on it. I'm curious to hear what he has to say about it, but it's interesting drama here with the new commissioners trying to kind of level the field. All right, let's talk Royals here. Tommy, I mean, the bats appear to be. They're not, I wouldn't say they're consistent, but I think they're back for probably closer to what we thought this year would look like offensively. It's certainly been better. It probably hasn't been consistent enough, but it's better. And the question becomes, is it good enough? They'll play 6 games now. They got a homestand. I'm talking about a critical homestand. Cleveland can pitch. That's going to be a challenge for the bats always. Atlanta, not quite as much, but I do think they run into Spencer Strider in that series. So this is it. 6 games. It's a homestand. It could define the season. It could define the future of players. JJ Piccolo is going to be careful for that not to happen, but it's almost impossible for it, if it goes negatively, not to have an impact. You've got Vinny Pasquantino yesterday after the game, after Seth Lugo came out and had a nice performance, 6 innings, 2 runs, more vintage Lugo than his last couple of starts. And it was a good opportunity for his teammates to kind of rally behind him and say, we don't want him to go anywhere. They, clearly they think they can get in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do, and I think Matt Quatrero does as well. I mean, he said after the game that he feels like this team is right in it, and they just need to string together more performances like they've had the last week or so. Actually, really a lot like the last month. And there have been some not great performances sprinkled in there, but again, trending. This team is performing better, playing better overall holistically than they did in the month of June, than they did in the month of May. They have looked a whole lot better. And I think that part of it is when you watch them play, like in that game yesterday, the 8-4 win, or the win on Monday night, where the Bats came alive. They passed the eye test. When they perform like that, they look like a playoff team. They look like a postseason team. There was a long stretch of time where they did not pass the eye test whatsoever. And so I think that from a consistency standpoint, sure, like you would love to not have the one-offs like the shutout on Tuesday night when you run into Matthew Boyd, and you'd like to be able to make some noise offensively with that. And, but by and large, I think that there should be a lot more optimism surrounding the construction of this team right now than a month ago or 3 weeks ago.
There's
even
no question.
No question about that. And so, but I think then the question becomes, and you brought it up in the last segment, is it going to be enough? Is it enough to get you over the hump? And, I know that every single year leading up to the trade deadline, there are really difficult decisions to be made by a lot of teams. It doesn't happen very often when you've got a team that you just flat out, everybody knows what they're going to do, and there's really no drama. They're either selling everybody, they're buying everybody, like whatever the case might be. A lot of times this becomes the most difficult time for a general manager to assess and figure out what direction we go. I can't remember a time where it has been more difficult for JJ Picollo. I even think last year was easier for him because
they knew they wanted to buy.
Right, exactly. So I think, again, we're that much closer to the deadline, and I still believe there are multiple directions they can go.
They can do so many things to buy and sell. They could afford and justify selling a starting pitcher, a relief pitcher, an infielder, to Jim Bowden's point, I suppose, because they do have some depth there, and they just added Frazier, and they could buy an outfielder. And I think all of those things are probably being discussed and on the table right now. So those things immediately become the most interesting. But to me, the most interesting thing is whether or not they can, still try to reach the postseason. And that's going to be on the table no matter what they do at the deadline. And I think that's important because it makes this season a whole lot more fun. Like, I don't care what they do at the deadline. They're still going to be with the players they'll have there in this conversation and in this postseason mix. We haven't talked about it at all, but Detroit is stumbling hard right now. They've only won one of their last 10 games. I think the Royals have gained something like 4 games on them in the last 10 or 12 days or something like that. So they're 10 games back of them. I only bring it up because what if Detroit goes into the cold stretch and Kansas City can get hot? Kansas City plays them 6 more times this year. So we'll keep an eye on that too. Everything has been focused on the wild card, but just in the very, 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 very back portions of your head, keep in mind when you're talking about the division, you only have to chase one team, and you don't have to, it's not 6 other teams in the mix. When it comes to the Tigers, if they are going to come back down to earth, that's something to watch, because it wouldn't take much in a really cold stretch to continue for them and a really hot stretch for the Royals for the division race to become really interesting again. So this is just the strangest baseball season. Tommy, the 3 best records in the American League, they all have 60 wins, right? Like, it's just such a bizarre, even. There is not a team in baseball right now playing 600 baseball.
Yeah.
It's July 24th. There is not one team in baseball above 600 right now. That's crazy.
Well, and the teams that are all there in both leagues that have either leading their division or leading the wild card, that they're all different. Like you've got your big market Dodgers and Yankees in there, but then you've got the Brewers, with the best record in baseball. You've got the Blue Jays are up in there. Like it's a variety of different teams that have found their way to the top of their divisions and top of the wild card. One other thing to keep in mind, I mean, it makes, and I know we'll preview this series later on, but it makes this weekend series at home against the Guardians so important. The Guardians are now in second place in the division. They're one game over 500. So the Royals would have to leapfrog them to catch the Tigers. Also, they're ahead of the Royals in the wild card race as well. And
they're
so
white hot.
And they're white hot. So and they are they're trending up while Detroit is trending down. And so if you're Cleveland, you absolutely think, man, like we could catch the Tigers as well. Like this is not just a couple team race here. Like the Guardians are, like they always are, back in the mix when I think a lot of people kind of left them for dead. They're trending up and they're peaking at the right time.
And Minnesota could do the same thing. So like there are if you just look right now, like there are 22 teams in baseball that legitimately feel like they're capable of reaching the postseason. Like they're within enough games if things go their way. 22 teams. Nobody's running away with it. The two coldest teams in baseball have been the two best teams in baseball for most of the year, the Dodgers and the Tigers. So it's just like it to me, all of this says like what the Royals have gone through in a cold streak is not anything unique to pretty much any team this year. Did you ever think the Tigers were going to lose 9 out of 10?
No, not at all.
That's where we are right now. And it's and it hasn't been to good teams either, right? Like it hasn't been, they just, I believe they were just swept by the Pirates. So like, it's for everyone. It's like this. So for me, at the end of the day, like I just look at rosters and I know I say this all the time, but just like roster to roster, when you consider what Noah Cameron's brought to the table, and you consider that at some point Cole Reagan's, we hope, will come back, I don't think there are many, if any, overwhelmingly more talented rosters when you think about starting pitching, relief pitching, defense, and offense than the Royals. The offense has just underperformed. They're an elite defensive team. They have elite starting pitching and depth, and they have a good bullpen. I don't know if it's great, but it's good. It's a lot better than some of the teams that are, ahead of them. So at some point, like, just see where the chips fall, right?
Well, there are some stats out there that back up the claim that this team is trending upward and that the consistency, at least offensively, is getting better. I mean, I remember us talking about how they ranked like dead last in the league, in all of Major League Baseball for that matter, in things like home runs, and they had the most runners left on base, runners left in scoring position, all these different metrics that you look at. A lot of those numbers have improved over the last month or so. Kansas City is no longer down at the very bottom of Major League Baseball as far as their slugging percentage is concerned. Now, they're not great. They're still in the bottom 10, but they're not dead last like they were before. They're not dead last in home runs per game like they were. They're still near the bottom, but I remember them being dead last at one point. It wasn't that long ago that happened. I remember us looking at, all right, how many runners are they leaving in scoring position per game? And they were like, I think number 1 or number 2 in Major League Baseball. And we talked about how unclutch they had become because they weren't able to drive runs in. That's not the case anymore. They are smack dab in the middle of Major League Baseball as far as driving in runners and not having runners left in scoring position per game. So taking a look at some of those things that we have been calling out for so long, they're starting to get better. They actually, when you look at the actual constructive statistics, they are improving in those areas.
I keep breaking out July, and in July they're a top third offense.
Yeah.
Their power, they've hit the 5th most home runs in the month of July. But I don't think that's the only thing. It's been real handy for them because you you score the runner. But yeah, they're basically top third in the month of July, and all of these things they've been dead ass last in all year prior to July. And so is that sustainable? Again, I don't know if they're going to do that the rest of the way, but they're almost certainly going to be better than they were. And is it too late? I don't know. The offense is largely they don't strike out. They don't walk. That's probably an approach thing that needs to change a little bit in the offseason, but they do appear to be a little more patient than they had been. But even when they were struggling, they don't strike out. I think they just make contact on pitches they shouldn't be swinging at. Maybe that's been one of the weirder things. If you look inside the numbers for them, is they've been so bad and they don't strike out. They just it's the clutch thing, which is there's not really a stat for that. But home runs, eliminate the need to be clutch, right? Home runs take that necessity away. You just score everybody with one swing like that. So we'll see. I think it's in the cards for them to be in the mix until the end of this season. And I hope that stays the same. And what was it, 2 weeks ago now, JJ Piccolo basically laid out that they're not letting individual games dictate it. And I believe that. I think they know as an organization they need another outfielder. And so as an organization, not based on wins and losses at the current moment, if they think they can go find an outfielder, they'll find an outfielder. I think they know as an organization, Seth Lugo's, contractual situation is not the best for them. So if other teams would like to have him, they'll listen, and they'll listen on every player on the roster and ride it out. But no matter what they do, I don't think what we're talking about changes any. They're going to be almost certainly in the mix the rest of the way. Maybe they can get in the mix in the division again. Who knows? But in the wild card, probably, because there's so many games still to play and there's so many teams in and out of it every other day. It's just, it's a nonstop cycle. It's been one of the craziest seasons to watch because of it. And the two teams that I watch every night are both right in the middle of it. The Rangers and the Royals. They're very similar teams. They both struggle offensively. They both pitch like crazy, and they both have just been hovering. And then I look up and down, and I'm like, well, you know what? That's been kind of everybody all year. Like, everybody's kind of hovering. There's a handful of bad teams, and that's it.
Look, I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again, and I think you agree with this. This team goes as Salvador Perez goes. That's the way that it looks. I mean, he's the captain, he's the leader of this team, and I think admittedly, he would probably say this too, was not performing the way that he wanted to and the way that he thought he could. And the team, I think, reacted appropriately to that. Like, they were not winning baseball games during that time. The way that he's improved his overall stat line in the last month has been just remarkable. I mean, the guy has got an average up over 255 now, 18 homers, 62 RBIs. He's got that OPS approaching 800. I don't know if he'll get there, but if he continues on this heater, I think it's absolutely in reach. And the team is winning games because of that. I mean, I think that you can absolutely point out the way that he is playing as a key indicator as to the direction that this team is going to.
It would be nice if the same thing will be said about Bobby Witt Jr. at some point. He's also got a heater in him. He's been really good. There's optimism. Royals are off today and back at it. We'll come back. We'll continue the conversation. It's Sports Daily. Don't go away.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into the jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. It is Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor. We are glad to be with you here on this Thursday edition of the show. You want to win a trip to see Zach Brown Band, Love and Fear, live at the Sphere in Las Vegas this December. It includes a 2-night stay in a suite at the Venetian Resort Las Vegas, the only hotel directly connected to the Sphere. It's easy to enter the national contest for a chance to win a trip to the show. Download the Odyssey app, listen to KFH for at least an hour. You can learn more at odyssey.com/Zach. Thanks to the Messina Touring Group. Good luck on that contest, everybody. Tommy, we come back. It is Chiefs training camp, day 2 of practice, kind of the focus on the defense in day 2. The defense is interesting. Hasn't been talked about a ton. I'm guilty of that too. They have some losses, but largely they're running it back with an infusion of a couple of young guys. There's definitely a path for them to be as good as they've been the last couple of years. I don't know if I think there's a path for them to be better. I suppose there is if the rookies just absolutely ball out. But they should be a strength of this team again. It's one of the reasons I think the floor is always moderately high. It's like you have Mahomes and that whole thing, but lately it's been because the defense is almost certainly going to keep you in the games that you're playing. It's how they won a ton of games last year. The defense bailed them out offensively. I mean, how many games? Until the end of the season, it felt like every week. And so they don't get a lot of attention, but it should be another good unit this year.
I really want to know what the defensive line is going to shake out to look like opposite of Chris Jones. We know what Jones does year in and year out, even as another year older. I mean, that's locked in and set in stone. We know that, that he's going to be as productive as he usually is, I'm sure. But they don't have Tershawn Wharton anymore. So what do they do opposite of Chris Jones? Mike Pennell is back on the roster. He's kind of been more of a spot guy. I'm not sure that he's an every down defensive lineman. And so what do you expect out of him? Really, you're probably going to be leaning a lot on the rookie, on Omar Norman Lott. And what can he do as a second round rookie coming in and playing on that line? I know they signed Jerry Tillery. Tillery's an older guy. He's an older player. So, I don't exactly know what the rotations are going to look like. That's a big question mark for me, is how effective can that defensive line be outside of Chris Jones?
Yeah, I think good. I think effective. They just locked up Karlaftis. I don't know what my biggest question on the defense is. I don't.
And again, like I'm talking about, like the interior defensive line. Like I know that they've got edge. They've got edge all taken care of. Like that, I don't have an issue about that. But you've got Jones, and then
I do. I have some issue with it. I think if this defense is truly going to become a game wrecking defense, rushing the quarterback has always been a need for them. And that's gonna fall on familiar faces, but it could happen. And yeah, maybe it happens from the interior because Norman Lott's also really good. I'm curious just to see him play. Just when was the last time the Chiefs spent high draft capital on an interior defensive? Was it Chris Jones? Like, have they taken any
long time?
So I'm curious to see that. And yeah, all the rookies could make and second year players too. I know a lot of people have pointed to all the second-year players on this defense. Remember how many defensive players they've been drafting over the years. So
even Tershawn Wharton, who they don't have anymore at defensive tackle, the Chiefs didn't draft him. He was an undrafted free agent, and the Chiefs signed him after the draft. So you probably do have to go back to Chris Jones, unless I'm missing somebody who's actually drafted.
I can't think of one off the top of my head. Something Spags said that I thought was interesting yesterday, because early in the offseason, when the Chiefs chose to go and pay Nick Bolton, I don't want to say there was pushback on that, but that was the guy I think people just assumed was going to go. Here's what Steve Spagnuolo said about Bolton yesterday. He said he's just about everything. He's Patrick Mahomes for us on the defense. I've said this before. We're pretty multiple defensively. If we don't have that guy, it gets really challenging. He says, when we look back to when we didn't know if we were getting Nick, I had it in my mind. I was preparing. If we don't have Nick, what do we do? It's just not the same. So thank God he's here. I think that tells you probably where the Chiefs were in that. They probably just had a conversation with Steve Spagnuolo. And I believe this too, because we all know one of the beauties and one of the reasons he's been so good at what he does, Steve Spagnuolo, is because he's multiple. He keeps offenses guessing. It's what, whether it's the blitzes coming from the secondary or the well time, like all that stuff has to be called out there. Nick Bolton's been his guy for that. So I was really pleased when they brought Bolton back, just because it felt like they were committing to the consistency of the defense to some degree. I think it's really interesting to hear. Everybody wants to talk about Karlaftis and Chris Jones and these superstars, and he's just beaming about Nick Bolton, who got paid, but I do think is probably an underrated part of what Spags does defensively specifically.
Yeah, I think that you have to separate the production of Nick Bolton, and you have to separate that away from the importance of Nick Bolton. I agree. They're two totally different things. Because did he deserve the kind of contract that he got solely based on his production? No. Like if you put it on paper, you're like, man, he's an okay linebacker. He plays with his hair on fire, which is fun to watch. I've always appreciated Nick Bolton for that regard, but is he the best linebacker in the world? No, he's not. I think everybody knows that, right? And so at first glance, when you look at the fact that they re-signed him and what they're paying him, just on paper, it's like, well, man, did he really deserve that? But there's a lot of intangibles there. And Spagnuolo has talked about that and about the importance of him calling the defense and being kind of that field general out there for the defense, kind of the guy that everybody looks to on, okay, what's the play call and how are we executing and all of that. I think that it's harder to put a value on that and have it really be understandable in the whole scheme of what Nick Bolton does for this team. That's why he got paid. That's why he's back on the roster. And I know it's hard to do, to separate out the actual production to the importance of what he's been doing and the way that he kind of runs that defense.
Think of it like Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it really does get that. So that's why I thought that comparison was really interesting.
Yeah, but Mahomes has the production to back it up. So it's easier to be able to.
Hang on, though. Does Mahomes have the production statistically
to
back up being the highest paid quarterback? Not over the last 2 years. Not over the last 2 years, he doesn't. Now, nobody's doubting Mahomes is the best. We don't think of the quarterback of the defense the same way we think of the quarterback of the offense. But I think the point is, like, even though Mahomes statistically has not been the top performer in the league, everyone still knows what he is and why he's so important. And he's the GOAT right now and all of those things. It's not because he's putting up the gaudiest stats. He's not even close the last couple of years. Bolton may not put up the gaudiest stats. He may not, but he is, according to Spagnuolo, what Mahomes is to the offense. And I think that tells you, like, he's critical. And honestly, when you look in totality as a whole to what this defense has done the last 2 years, he's not saying that about Chris Jones, right? He's saying that about Nick Bolton. And so I think it just tells you, like, how important for the entire unit to be able to do what it's done. I do think it's very comparable, obviously at a lesser scale than Mahomes on the offense, but it's not that Mahomes has the best numbers. It's that Mahomes always has his team with a chance to win, and he always makes the big plays, and he makes the right calls, and he makes the right checks, and when it matters the most. Bolton's probably, we don't see it as much, doing the same thing for the defense, which has been a top unit the last 2 years. It has been the reason, I think, for the last 2 Super Bowl appearances, one of them was a win, one of them was a loss, is because the defense has been so good.
I'll tell you right now, there have been multiple times that I've been frustrated with Nick Bolton, just like a missed tackle, or not being in the right spot. Like he can be a frustrating player at times, but at the same time, there is nobody that I trust more than Steve Spagnuolo. Like, I don't know if there's another defensive coordinator in the league
not right now,
more than him, right? And so if he says, I need Nick Bolton to run this defense,
yes,
all right, in Spags we trust, and so I'm gonna be on board with that, and just kind of know that there might be a couple boneheaded plays here and there, or there may be physical limitations, or he may not be a game wrecker like other linebackers that we know around the league. And so, you can easily point at that and say, they paid that guy? Like, they couldn't have found somebody else to be the linebacker, but when you peel back the onion and you recognize that he is essential to Steve Spagnuolo, okay, I can get on board with that. I can take the bad with the good. I can be frustrated at times by, some of the limitations that Nick Bolton has, because apparently Spags needs him, and that's enough for me. I'm okay with that.
Well, it happens with other players. Like why does Juju Smith-Schuster keep ending up on the roster? Why have the Chiefs tried McCole Hardman so many times? Why is it important for them to have Kareem Hunt on the roster right now, even though he clearly physically is not even close to the player he used to be? It's because Andy Reid needs those guys. He trusts those guys. He wants those guys there. They're not even close to the most talented players. They could go find somebody more talented than Kareem Hunt. Right now, it wouldn't be that hard. Probably. I'd say that, and I shouldn't say that so definitively, but just based on limitations and things, there are other players that can do those things. but those guys become important for various reasons. Nick Bolton, I would imagine, is far more important in what he means than any of those guys, because he's the one out there calling plays and doing all this stuff for Steve Spagnuolo. So
on top of that,
that was,
I think another important nugget with Nick Bolton is that had he ended up going to another team, he could have been a wealth of information to that other team.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look, this is what we do. This is what we call defensively. So, hey, offensive coordinator on my new team, I want to tell you about everything that we did in Kansas City. And if you want to try to find a way to slay the dragon, I can help you with that. So I do think having that knowledge, that's an important piece of it too.
And remember how easy it's been for the Chiefs to watch more maybe gifted players or more gaudy players just go, like D Ford, like no problem, see you later. He jumped off the screen far more than Bolton does most of the time. They just had to do it with Justin Reed.
They've let L'Jarius Sneed walk.
They let Tyrann Mathieu, congratulations on your retirement, Honey Badger, walk. I mean, they do it all the time. And so, like, again, they chose not to do it with this guy. There's probably a really, really good reason for that. And so I thought it was cool for Spags to get a chance to kind of speak on that a little bit. Isaiah Pacheco also talked yesterday. One other interesting note coming out of this for me is he talked about what he learned from last year, and he just kind of played less football in the offseason. Like, his lesson was he's got to be physically ready. I thought that was also pretty, for that guy to say that. We're talking about like growing as a person. You know how hard it is for Isaiah Pacheco probably to not go just try to run through walls all day long. I was glad to hear that too. He's a really interesting player that can make this team a whole lot better if he can stay on the field, and I hope he does. I hope he's able to. It's going to be hard.
Not another position in football where you've got the players having pretty short shelf lives, just the nature of the position. And when you are going full bore and you're running through walls and you're running like you're mad at the grass, like Isaiah Pacheco does, that shelf life can get a whole lot shorter. So that's a maturity factor that apparently
he still needs a contract. He still hasn't really been paid to play football very much. Like, let's see if he can get a second contract. All right, we'll come back. We got a little golf talk with Eric Johnson next hour. We got Tim Fitzgerald in to talk K-State. All kinds of good stuff coming for you in our next hour of Sports Daily. Don't go anywhere.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. We are joined to start off the hour with Eric Johnson, talk a little golf. Eric, before we get to the 3M Open, which will feature 3 guys we follow here locally, Sam Stevens, Gary Woodland, Adam Hadwin, we got to go back and revisit the Open Championship, the British Open, and Scotty Scheffler doing the Scotty Scheffler things. We joked when you were with us last week, like he was 4 or 5 strokes behind, and you couldn't even justify betting him to win. He was getting like 2-to-1 odds at that point.
Right. I mean, it's like free money.
Golly. It's crazy. Is this do you think, and I know other guys have had runs like this, but do you think he's the guy that could have the sustained success that we saw with Tiger, who could stretch it out the longest?
I mean, we're so far from having that discussion on it. I mean, it's good to start it, but like, I thought the stat was funny. They were talking about how he's like won 18 or 19 straight 54-hole leads. Tiger did it like 39 straight times.
It's crazy, Eric, because, you know, with Scotty, he's just a guy that he doesn't make mistakes. And I know you've played a lot of competitive golf. You've been in a lot of tournaments and whatever. And it's not like Scotty's doing crazy things. Like, he's not like making these ridiculous looking shots. He just doesn't make mistakes. And when he does, he's able to get up and down. He doesn't compound his mistakes. From a competitive standpoint, what is that like when you just know that the person that you're chasing is never going to slip up?
I know a couple guys like that here around town, but yeah, I mean, it's fun to watch. I mean, I enjoy it. I don't know if I've been in that position, but yeah, I mean, I've been in a couple tournaments where guys, it's like, okay, I'm 4 back, and then blink of an eye, I'm 8 back. It's like, okay, what just happened? And then they just put the pressure on you, and you're like, well, do I keep pressing and try to catch him when I know I can't, and then blow it? But I mean, he makes it look so easy. Like there's no dramatics about it. It's not a crazy tiger shot from 280 over the water into a tucked pin. It's just like routine stuff for him. So I find it interesting how competitive he is. He kind of talked about that this week, but I thought it was really cool that he doesn't care what anybody thinks. He's doing it his way, and he does not like to lose. So
his conversations are getting a lot of attention. He doesn't like to lose, but he's trying, I think, to make it as clear as he can to people that this isn't the most important thing happening in his life, which is unusual usually for the alpha to get out and say those things publicly. Most of the time, whatever it is that they're doing is the most important thing in their life. Right. I think Scotty just doesn't like to lose. That's pretty much it for him. But he clearly wants everybody to know, like, golf is not his driving force, which is interesting for the alpha to publicly take that approach.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he was pretty open about, like, hey, if Bennett says I miss you, he's like, I'm good. I might just check out.
Yeah,
and I've heard that before. But
yeah, like Jacob mentioned, we've got the 3M Open up in Minneapolis coming up this weekend. 3 guys that we follow locally, of course, Sam Stevens, Gary Woodland, Adam Hadwin. Sam and what he's been able to do so far this year on the PGA Tour, on the money list and all of that. I mean, what he is turning into a bona fide, consistent PGA Tour member, contender, whatever you want to call him. From what you've been able to see in his development over the years, where do you think he stands?
I think he's a Texas guy. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, Sam is a lot like Scotty Scheffler was in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, they're both from Dallas. They're both,
HTL right
there. They're both very family orientated, and they both work really hard. They both hate to lose. I've played with Sam a few times, and like, he made one mistake and then he birdied 6 in a row. And I was like, okay, man, I get it. I know you messed up one hole, but we see him out at Crushu. You see it's a job for him. He does not like to lose either. So I mean, he's 200 through 3. They've shown him one time this morning on the par 3, but it's kind of frustrating. But yeah, I mean, if he could eliminate 10 this year, he'd be in the top 20.
I just put he and Woodland and Hadwin with top 10 finishes together, and it was like, $5 to win $4,000 or something. Let's get it done. Local Wichita tie golfers. Where is the 3M Open?
In Minneapolis, I believe.
Minneapolis, Twin Cities. I think some people have had conversations with him. I think he's not in it for he's not trying. I mean, I know he wants to win and that, but he's very patient with what he's doing, and he has a process, and it's working. So, yeah, good for him.
It's working today. Hopefully, he gives us a follow here over the weekend, because he's off to a good start this morning. I don't know anything about this course. It looks like there's a lot more guys scoring so far in the early goings through about 5 holes than there are not scoring through 5 holes. So who knows?
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I get to go watch him at the 3M, or at the St. Jude. So I get to follow him for a day. That's the first round of the FedEx. So.
Oh, nice.
Be fun.
That's a couple weeks from now, I believe, isn't it? Because we're getting into the FedEx playoffs.
Yeah, August 7th, I think, is the first day.
All right, very cool. Hey, while we've got you, Eric, we got to talk a little bit about Swing 365. Obviously, great fun, great simulator on the east side of town. Jacob and I and a couple of friends went and enjoyed it the other night. You guys are, the word is getting out around town. If folks want to go out and have some private practice, private play on the Full Swing simulator that you guys have at 127th and Central, it's there and available for folks. What's the reaction continuing to be like around the city?
It's starting to pick up a little momentum. We're obviously in favor of all these guys that have simulators in town. Ours is a different animal than theirs. Someone used the analogy the other day is like some of them are kind of the bowling alley atmosphere, where ours is a little more private. You can practice or you can hang out with some buds and play if you're a member. But we started a new special this week where for $50 you can be a member for a week and have access to it. It's all automated. There's no employees. You come and go as you please at your scheduled time, as you guys know. You can stay until midnight if you want.
Yeah, but we went up and watched the aftershocks. That's what we swung, hit some balls, and watched the aftershocks. It's pretty great, actually.
It's great. We've got two 80-inch TVs in there. So we have guys come in and they'll play Prairie Dunes and watch a Royals game. We've got ESPN, we've got YouTube TV in there. They'll turn a game on one TV and the music on another, So
the cool thing too, and I'm going to tease this now, we're going to be doing some giveaways. So we're going to be giving away an opportunity to get in and have listeners be able to try out the simulator. So that's going to be coming soon. Eric and I are working out the details on all of that, but it's a lot of fun because you get a chance to, just kind of go in and hang out and have a good time and work on your game. You can play casually. You can try to dial in your shots. You can use it for whatever you need it to.
Yeah, Jacob will appreciate that. Have you got into the pin seeker software yet, Jake?
No, if you, and that's probably a good thing. If you'd have seen me go 10 cup, what was it, Tommy? 8 times?
Yeah, you one of the holes that we played, I think you shot a 17 on that hole, I believe.
Yes, it took me 8. It took me 8. It was straight out of 10 cup, right over the water, 8 times, right into the water, and
I think
I don't need to be doing pin seeker.
After the 6th time, I said, maybe you want to club up, like maybe you need a different club. That might not be a good idea for you.
If you're fast enough, you can get to the touch screen and hit mulligan.
Yeah.
Except Tommy would, he wouldn't let me do that. He wasn't.
No, the pin seeker software is an online. It's kind of like DFS. You can go play par 3 contests with guys all over the country that are using the Full Swing technology, and you can buy 3 swings for $5. But I'll get you on that.
Okay, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah,
Eric, we appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, have fun. See you next week.
Go Sam. Cool. Go Sam. Steven.
Yeah.
Gary Woodland just even through 1. He just teed off as well. Adam Hadwin will tee off here pretty quick. We'll keep our eye on that 3M Open. It could be a great local follow this week, Tom. I must set a reminder to check in on that throughout the day. Be awesome if we could get those local guys collectively in the mix there. Since we didn't get to see any of them at the dang Open Championship.
I know. None of them played.
Just ridiculous. I hate when those guys aren't in the majors. Drives me crazy. But they're here. They're back. They're on the tour this week. We'll follow along. We appreciate Eric for stopping by, talking a little golf. Isn't that crazy as good as Scotty Scheffler been? And Eric's probably right. It is crazy to start. It's crazy to still compare anybody to Tiger's run. But it feels to me like this one has the best chance to get close. Whereas most of the other, was it Spieth had one, McIlroy had one. I know there's one more.
Koepka had a run.
Yeah, Koepka had one. Koepka probably had the best one, honestly.
There are always a lot of people that, you point at, and you're like, that's going to be the next Tiger. Scotty, it seems like, he's 27. He's got the longevity potentially to make it interesting. I think that's as far as we can go.
In the way he plays it, seems like his floor just is through the roof. Maybe that's his greatest attribute, is it feels like he's never going to be bad. So it just inherently gives him all these advantages. Anyway, we'll come back. We got to talk Tim Fitzgerald. Let's talk a little K-State football, get his take on this college football playoff rumbling. That's all coming next for you. Don't go away. We've got more Sports Daily coming right up.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
The canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into the jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
And that'll be coming with our buddy Tim Fitzgerald. Want to tell you real quick, though, about the Summer Concert Series back in Wichita at NAFSCAR Park this weekend. Returns Friday, July 25th. The Astronauts are live on stage. That's tomorrow. Gates open at 6:30. Show starts at 8. Free live music, food trucks, Friday night fun all summer long. You can find the full schedule at kfhradio.com. We've got Tim Fitzgerald. Fitz, you're at the stadium now, correct? You're at practice?
No, not yet. I'm getting ready to head over. I'm about 2 minutes away from there.
Okay. Are you what's the feel like in year? How many years is this covering K-State football for you?
Good Lord. This would be full-time 31.
31 years. Wow. The buzz feel any different this year? Like what's the vibe? Give us a vibe check up there.
Yeah, I think there's a quiet confidence about this team that feels familiar. I mean, I just think this team knows it could be really good. And that emphasis on could be. They've got to get there. But I think they feel like they have the pieces to win a Big 12 title and get to the playoff. But, you have to do it 12 games in a row, starting really soon. And that is easier said than done. The Big 12, you get challenges almost every week, and you just got to take them one at a time, pick them off. And I think this team learned some valuable lessons, particularly Avery Johnson, from last year's season.
As you are heading to the stadium and watching practice and all of that, what are the major things that you are going to be keeping a close eye on?
I'll probably immediately check in on the offensive line depth, because when they do drills as groups of 5 coming off the ball and stuff, they often usually do it as the depth chart reflects. So that and the receivers too. Defensively, it's a little more difficult because they're off just doing stuff. They go outside and do different drills and stuff, so you don't really get to see a depth chart, so to speak. But that's what I'll be kind of keep my eye on, is anything that indicates who's starting and where.
Yeah, there's not a lot of questions there, though, is there? Like you mentioned the line, they're going to have questions to answer defensively. What are you expecting? 2, 3, maybe new starters on the defense. Isn't that kind of what's making K-State one of the favorites of the league? Is just they have a lot coming back in a league where there's not a lot coming back anywhere.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they'll have, it might be four new starters on defense, but it's guys that played last year at the bowl game for the most part, or transfers coming in with experience. So, but they're key elements. Linebackers are, the 2 of them are back and experienced and very good. So I think they're in really good shape on defense. They just got to make sure that secondary plays better, and particularly zone coverages, than they did last year, because that was the biggest problem with the defense last year, was pass defense breakdowns.
The news came out a few days ago that one of the projected starters on the line for the Wildcats, Ohio State transfer George Fitzpatrick, had a medical emergency or a medical incident at practice last week, working his way back. What do we know about that situation?
Not a whole lot. I think he's doing well. I don't know if he'll be at practice. I think he's out of the hospital. I'm not sure. But certainly we'll be checking in on him. And, it's hard to tell how serious it was. It was serious enough to be taken to the hospital, let's be clear. But is it affected his season? We just don't know yet. Is it something he's going to bounce back from, where it's all uncertain? So I'll be looking for him, and certainly looking to see who's at left tackle with him out.
How about the coaching staff, Fitz? We're in, year 2 of a lot of this now. How, is there growth there for some of these assistants that had to be replaced? Do you think there are things that they could learn in a second year that benefit, or does it make much of a difference at this point?
Yeah, I think they're in. They've got some key transition spots on this coaching staff with new offensive coordinator Matt Wells and new offensive line coach and Brian LePack, and I think there's a great deal of confidence that they're more than equipped to take those jobs. But again, you've got a offensive line coach who's never really done it before. He's been around it, but he's not been the boss. So, based on how his tight ends have played over the course of his time at Kansas State, I would say offensive line's in a pretty good shape because I think Brian LePack's a good coach.
New-ish with Matt Wells. Do you expect him to do anything different this year?
Yeah, I do, but I think it's just going to be mostly because of personnel.
Okay.
I think if you've got DJ Giddens and you're the offensive coordinator that doesn't give him the ball, you're a fool. And now without him, I think the way you go about every drive is different now. You don't have DJ plowing to pick up, close to first downs and putting in short yardage. You got to be a little more spread out probably and do some more what the fans will see as fun and creative. But it's what you have to do when you don't have that big dynamic running back between the tackles. You can still run between the tackles, but it's not your bread and butter.
From a playmaker perspective offensively, I mean, obviously, I think we all expect Dylan Edwards to, take that next step and be, the guy that got the MVP in the Rate Bowl a season ago and be the main playmaker that we know that he is in the running game. Jace Brown is back as a top pass catcher for Avery Johnson. What else do we know as far as guys that you think could step up and be that household name by the end of the season offensively that can be a big target and a big asset for Avery Johnson?
Yeah, but I mean, Jaron Tibbs has been the discussion point quite often about the new faces on offense who really could turn it on at receiver. Look, one of the things holding Kansas State back the last, I don't know how many seasons is, quality of receivers and depth. Last year, I don't think we fully appreciate how much the drops and mistakes by the receivers just derailed this offense. So, yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on those guys because they could change the entire offense if they're just, reliable. They're where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to do, and when they get the ball thrown to them, they catch it. That'll just change K-State's offense dramatically in itself.
Let's go bigger picture, Fitz. Okay. Brett Yarmark has said recently he is not in favor of that 4-4-2-2 playoff model. In fact, it looks like only the Big Ten remains as the league that wants to do it that way. Even the SEC doesn't, after hearing from their coaches. I still think, I get it, Brett Yormark's betting on the future. I think in the present, it's a better deal for the Big 12. But what part of that future is he betting on there? Is it the newly placed salary cap? Like, history doesn't favor multiple bids for the Big 12 even in a 16-team format. So what is that future he's betting on? Where's that coming from?
No, I think if last year had been 16, we probably would have seen BYU in the field. So I think he's looking at it that most years you'll get to in a 16-team playoff, just because you'll have a couple teams float to the top. He doesn't want to come to the table and admit that his conference is half of what the Big Ten and SEC are. You just can't do that. You can't demean yourself in that manner and put yourself in a box that you're lesser than. The selection process will do that, but that's not you doing that. Saying we'll just take two bids is a confession that you're not as good. They're not as good right now, but you don't want to send that message to the college football world that you need this crutch to make sure you get two teams in.
Yeah, I mean, 3 though is what you're.
Yeah,
three is what you're shooting for. There'd still be at-larges. I don't know. I'm gonna just defer to the fact that the ACC doesn't want it. The SEC doesn't even really want it, and I understand why they don't want it. There'd be a lot of years they probably send 7, or whatever it is. But the Big Ten wants it, and apparently they want it for TV purposes. I don't know if you saw it from Sports Illustrated this morning, that they've kind of already made some commitments, maybe to their TV partners about a sort of like a play in to the CFP, which I think is a great idea. But yeah, it doesn't sound like anybody else is on board, and then they're kind of in a measuring contest with the SEC about how many conference games each other play. Nobody cares.
I think the more we can have a wedge between the SEC and Big Ten, the better off college football is.
I agree with that. Yeah. I agree. It's been interesting to see that not hostility, I don't think, but disagreement. It should be better for the remainder. I definitely agree with that. All right, Fitz, you guys are out at practice today. What do you have for us at GoPowerCat.com?
It's a busy day. We've got podcast dropping at 11. Then we'll have all of our practice coverage. Most of it come out today, and then we got another podcast tomorrow because we had some great questions. So we've got a football one today to go with opening of football practice at Kansas State, and then we'll have a basketball one later in the week on Friday.
Tim Fitzgerald, publisher, GoPowerCat.com. Find all his work at Life of Fitz. Fitz, it's football season. Whether we're ready or not, here it comes.
It's crazy, man. But yeah, we're less than a month till start of football at Kansas State. Well, in Dublin, and we're 3 weeks from us traveling over there. So it's crazy how fast it's come up.
3 weeks. God, I can't wait for that. It's going to be so good. They better win that game. I'm just saying, it's going to be
huge. Yep.
They better. That one does count to the conference standings, right? I know Arizona does not. That one does, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yep. It does, and that's a heck of a way to start a season. It really is. It makes you put your cards on the table pretty quickly.
Here we go. All right, we'll let Fitz go. We know he's got to get to practice. We appreciate it.
Thanks, boys.
There goes Tim Fitzgerald. I can't, but the practice is there. We got TJ Cleveland up at KU practice today too. He just sent us a video of the new stadium. It's here, Tommy. It is about to be college football season. I'm with Fitz there at the end, though. The SEC and the Big Ten being at odds is good for us. It's good for the Big 12. It's good for the ACC. You don't want them unified on a unified front, trying to edge out everybody else. I think it's interesting to hear that the SEC coaches don't like the 4-4-2-2 idea. They want just the one and all the at-larges. That I think that comes from a place of confidence because they think they can get in, right? They might send 6-7 teams in a lot of years, but it is kind of interesting because it is a flex on everybody else to go that route for that league.
Yeah, I think that the SEC and the Big Ten, they are, absolutely more powerful together. And so do I think that long-term they will be at odds? I doubt it. I think that this is probably a temporary thing. And eventually, I don't know if it'll be the SEC or the Big Ten, which one of them will cave and come over. But eventually, I think that they'll be back on the same page because both conferences probably recognize how important it is for them to be in lockstep.
Well, it's important for them to be in lockstep. And we go back to the same conversation we've had a million times, or at least like the rallying cry for me with college football. They may think it's better if it's just them. I don't think it's better if it's just them because I think they lose the national capacity for us to care. It would regionalize a great deal. I don't care where the Big Ten puts its programs. You can have them on the West Coast, East Coast. You can put them on Mars. Like California isn't watching Big Ten football because Oregon's in there. Oregon fans are watching Big Ten football because Oregon fans are in there. But, like other places aren't just automatically tuning in as a whole like we do in, let's say, the NFL. Man, if they ever fracture it, it will be one of the great mistakes in sports history. We just won't care as much. And so I don't know if they're ready to admit that, but it is interesting to see the SEC back off of it. That is not something I expected to happen. And they just kind of did overnight. Just like all of a sudden they're like, we don't want to do that anymore.
It does certainly seem like the SEC coaches are approaching this from a position of confidence and confidence in the conference as a whole, confidence in the number of bids that they're going to get. I mean, that's about the only reason why I think I agree with you that they would be on board with that particular format.
Now, if what the Big Ten is proposing goes into sort of league playoffs to get in, that would be awesome. Like, could you imagine? And it'd be hard to do it because it's just hard to keep the championship like a Big 12. And I told you yesterday, I feel like one of the reasons like your market, maybe they're so resistant is because they lose the appeal of their Big 12 of their conference championship games. And I don't know how you could, the way the Big Ten's proposing it would be a way, right? You seed them out and you kind of play your way into the auto bids, and then you have the at-larges still there. But if you imagine that format for the Big 12 and you only have 2, you'd put 4 teams in, but then how do you decide who's the Big 12 champion? You still in that format, you wouldn't need a Big 12 championship game. So I don't know how you do that. Now, in theory, you'd get 2 games instead of 1. Does anybody care that it's the Big 12 championship if the winner gets a guaranteed spot into the playoff? I would say no, they don't. Like you'd care more about the bid into the CFP, but
that's what this is. I mean, let's be totally real about it. This is the preservation of conference championship games.
I think it is.
As soon as you start guaranteeing multiple bids by league, by conference, then that completely takes away
it does.
The need to have a conference championship.
But I do think I think there is a path for that to be an overall better outcome, like a more enjoyable as a fan. I'm talking about outcome, but I don't know how you define conference champions if you went that way, which is the problem.
I mean,
I think that's the question. Now, what you could do is you could divide conferences. Like, let's just take the Big 12. You split it into 2 divisions like you used to. You guarantee the bid for each, but you can't do that because it's a different committee, right, that puts them in. But if you didn't have that, you could take each division's winner, put them in, and then still let them play for a Big 12 championship. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It doesn't all fit together, and that's the problem. And that's why the auto bids, like in the short term, do probably make the most sense. I strategically look at it for the Big 12, and I'm like, I would take the 2 teams because I'm afraid there are years where they'd only have 1. But I get all the reasons you don't want to do it. And again, just as we said yesterday, like I just am going to trust your Mark, who generally speaking has made all the right decisions. I'll just trust him. I'll just trust him that maybe BYU would have gotten in a 16 team last year. I'm not comfortable with that. Like that makes me nervous. Like I'd like to know that you're getting more representation than that, but that's the way it's going to be in some years in a league that is pretty balanced. And there's no reason to think won't stay pretty balanced. Historically, without Texas and Oklahoma, it has always been that way. It's always been a collection of the rest, and they're all pretty even. I don't think that's going to change. I don't think anybody's going to start running away with the Big 12. I just don't think that's going to happen. We continue that conversation all offseason. I think it's fascinating. I love it. We'll come back. We'll look around. We've got one more segment for you on Sports Daily. Don't go away.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
The canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Tommy just sent me this little breaking news. Really a bummer. Justin Fields carted off at Jets practice at training camp. And we are reminded, sorry, I got a mosquito floating around here. We are reminded that the injuries are the worst part of this part of the season in the NFL schedule. And that's going to be a huge bummer. I'm actually, to be perfectly honest, I'm kind of intrigued to see Justin Fields with the Jets. He's not the most talented quarterback, but the dude is a freak athlete. and he has shown he can like funnel things to a player. He's got that in Garrett Wilson. I think a two-headed rushing attack between he and Breece Hall is at least intriguing. So I hope he's okay. That's going to kind of suck. I want to see the best for Breece Hall mostly.
Yeah. Adam Schefter reporting that he was carted to the locker room with an apparent lower leg injury. So no idea what that is and what the prognosis is, but they did bring the card out for him. There are 3 other quarterbacks that are currently on the depth chart for the Jets. Those quarterbacks are Tyrod Taylor, Adrian Martinez, and Brady Cook. Those are the 3 quarterbacks currently on the roster other than Justin Fields for the Jets, and I can't imagine that they would roll with any one of those 3 if Justin Fields can't go.
I don't know what they'll do. But we'll keep our eye on that. A couple other things out of the NFL. I guess the Packers, their revenue sharing, the Packers, $430 million. If you're ever curious about how successful the NFL is as a league, that's pretty wild. To be perfectly honest with you, to think about. The 3M Open, let's check in there. You've got Sam Stevens, tied for first at 3 under. He's through 6. Adam Hadwin, he has a birdie through 2. And Gary Woodland's even through 2. So really watching all this closely here. That'd be fun. Could you imagine all 3 of them kind of staying in the mix here a little bit? What a blast that would be. But just a check in there. That's something hopefully we'll be keeping our eye on throughout the day today and into tomorrow here on the show, because I don't mean those 3 or any combination of those 3 are staying relevant. Otherwise, we won't be interested in that golf tournament, but we are right now.
It's very, very, very early in the golf tournament. There's a long way to go, but at least a good start for those 3 guys.
Trade deadline rumors. I just continue to peruse them. And look and see what's out there and who's reporting what. And the one that continues to stick, the one that you see more often than anything else, is Seth Lugo to the Cubs. Quite a a spotlight for him to show them what he's got yesterday. The Cubs have some depth in their farm system. They're said to have their depth be position players, which is what the Royals need. And it just seems like a good fit. And, the Cubs feel like they can probably go win a World Series this year. And they need some help in their rotation. It is a very natural fit. They did get to scout him with every person in their organization yesterday, as he had a really nice performance against them at Wrigley Field, which is also important. So we'll see. I'm going to call it. I'm just going to stick to 50-50. And I know that seems a cop-out. I don't mean it to be a cop-out. I just mean there's a 50% chance the Royals trade him, right? I think the chances are pretty high that they move Seth Lugo. Interesting, though, to hear the players and the coaches get his back after the game yesterday and hope that they don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's such an opportunity here, I think, for the Royals, if they can keep the core together and continue to play the way that they are, where they can make a push. I think it'd be different, because we talked about it earlier in the show. If the Tigers were playing good baseball right now and they had ran away with the division, and I know that they're 10 games ahead of the Royals right now, but it could be 15 or 18 games ahead of the Royals right now in the division. That does potentially open up another door. Now, is it likely they can get all the way, make up 10 games on the Tigers? Probably not, but it's not. I would think the chances are certainly not 0, where if the chances were 0 and the only opportunity they had was to scratch and claw their way to the 3rd wildcard spot, it might be a little bit different. But there are potentially a couple of different paths, a couple of different doors that could be cracked open slightly for the Royals to find their way into the playoffs and increase their odds. Knowing that, I mean, I've kind of gotten to this point over the last week or so. I don't want them to move Lugo. I feel like they can keep him, they can run with him, and then at least there is, you do get a draft pick if he does.
Yeah, I don't want them to move him just to move him. If they get an overwhelming offer, if they get the ability to get an everyday above average player in return, I'm okay with it. I'm selfish in it, though. It's because I want to see this team try to make a run.
Yeah.
And that's not the right place to come at it either, right? Like that's my selfish take on it, because I enjoy a playoff chase in baseball, honestly, as much as anything else in sports.
And wouldn't it be different too, though, if he walked at the end of the year? Wouldn't it be different too if he walked at the end of the year and the Royals got nothing in return? You know, like if they didn't, if he left and you just were out that player with nothing in return for him, I think it might be even different knowing that. But the fact that they can get a draft pick if and when he does walk away, if they can't re-sign him, at least you're getting something. And for me, that's enough to keep him on the roster to have this team make a run, make a push.
There's a million reasons they can keep him, because they still have a chance to re-sign him. It is just a player option. Yes, they get the compensation, and yes, they'll go for the postseason. But so for me, selfishly, it's just, I just want them to go for the postseason because it's more fun for us. If they're blown away with an offer, it's fine. Take the offer, right? I wish we had a little more clarity on Cole Reagans. I do wish that would make this all a little bit easier. But man, it's too much fun to have teams in the mix. It'd be different too, Tommy, if they didn't appear that they were going to be just fine for the future and be right back to contending next year one way or the other. There might be a little more desperation not to trade him. But does anybody think the Royals won't be good next year? I mean, they'll at least be this good next year. They have so many good young players. I just it really is all okay, which is a position of power for JJ Picollo. JJ Picollo can sit back and say, how desperate are you? What do you want to trade away? You're going to give me a top prospect? Okay, fine. If you're not, we're good. We'll hold on and we'll try to do this thing.
So Buster Olney is reporting this morning that the Royals would probably need to market Lugo as more than just a rental. And I'm not exactly sure how they would market him as that. Like, maybe it's a conversation with Lugo, like, hey, if we move you to this particular team, what are the chances that you would sign long-term with that team? I don't exactly know how they would market him that way, but that's one thing Olney is talking about, is that for the Royals to get the true value that they feel like they would need to get out of Lugo, they would need to market him as more than just a rental for the remainder of this season.
Yeah, I mean, no team's going to sign him right now, I don't think. You'd never see that in baseball. I mean, maybe it's as simple as the Royals will pay the rest of his contract this year.
Maybe. I mean,
Sean Sherman's money. Why not?
It certainly seems like it. And maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's, hey, Seth, we're going to trade you to the Cubs. If we trade you to the Cubs, do you think you would pick up the player option for next year?
He's not going to pick up the player option anywhere.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out ways that they can market him as more than just a rental.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, if I don't know what that's an interesting phrase. If they paid the rest of this year's salary, it's still in theory just a rental. So I'm not sure I don't know what that looks like. Look, then there are things like Jarren Duran with the Red Sox. If the Royals wanted to go do that and put Lugo in there, they'd have to also put in a prospect. And maybe that's what he's talking about. Like, hey, we want to go trade him and use him as a way to get a bat. But if it's a dude like Duran, like, you're not getting Duran 1-for-1 for Lugo. So maybe that's more than the rental. Maybe you have to throw Lugo and a prospect in. It's hard to say. That's a little vague for me. Because if you're talking about like what his future after this season is, that's on the table for the Royals too, right? Unless he's going to sign an extension, the Royals have that same desire to keep Lugo. I would think they would love to have Lugo. I would think if they could give Lugo the exact same deal as they just gave Michael Wacha, they'd love to do it if he'd take it, but I don't think he will. I think he'll be more valuable on the market. But Tommy, you'd have thought he would have been more valuable on the market when the Royals signed him too. So you never know with this. He doesn't strike out a lot of guys.
The difference then to now is that he didn't have the body of work as a starter. He had 1 season under his belt as a starting pitcher. Entering free agency now, he'll have 3 years under his belt as a starter. More than likely, this is going to be the last contract, multi-year contract that he gets. So, I mean, I agree with you. When you say he's not going to pick up the player option anywhere, I don't disagree. I mean, I think he'd be stupid to do that anywhere. I'm just trying to figure out how the Royals could market him at all as more than just a rental.
You know, the only reason I bring that up is because I keep, like, by the numbers. I mean, he was second in Cy Young last year. He's been really good. He's very consistent. He gets you deep into games. I keep thinking he'll be like the top guy on the market, but he's not being painted that way in any reporting or rumor that you see. And so then it does make me wonder, like, what will his value be on the open market next year? Is it much higher than what Walker's just was when the Royals got it? I mean, I don't know. I think it should be, but he doesn't strike a lot of guys out, which we know teams value a great deal. Like, I mean, maybe it's not as high as we think it is just because we watch him all the time and we realize the dude is nails and he's a battler and he does all these things. Maybe it's not as high as we think. Maybe the player option is on the table. Maybe that money over a couple extra years is all it would take to get him to sign. And if you told me any of those things were on the table, I'd tell you the Royals don't need to trade Seth Lugo. If they can go sign Seth Lugo to a 3-year, $45 million extension, then don't trade Seth Lugo. Keep Seth Lugo. Like that's a tremendous screaming value at that point.
He's not going to go for 15 a year. He's going to go for 25 a year. That's what
I think he should go for, but he's older and like the way that he's being painted on the market. I mean, I would agree with you. I think he's very, very valuable. But let's just quickly take a look. Like he will be in line. Like Blake Snell just got $28 million a year, right? Robbie Ray just got $25 million a year. I don't see any world where he's not up north of. I think, and I've seen this comparison before, and I think it's perfect. The Nate Eovaldi deal, 3 years at like 25-ish a year. I feel like 3 years and 75 is what Lugo will command. Maybe not. I mean. He was undervalued the last time he was a free agent. I think Waka was undervalued this past offseason too. So we'll see. We'll keep watching it, but he's the name that keeps popping up, and we'll continue to sniff around those rumors for you here on Sports Day. We'll come back. Don't go away.